Hey guys, Virgin Vinyl with you again today. Today I've got another one of my all-time heroes when it comes to jazz rock fusion, and that is the legendary violin player from France, Mr. Jean-Luc Ponty, and his album Mystical Adventures, I should say. There's multiple adventures. I managed to get my hands on this copy, which is, this is a Israeli pressing from, when was this pressed? 1982. So, there you can see that's the Atlantic, through Atlantic, it's the Atlantic label there. Anyway, Jean-Luc Ponty, of course, he sort of first came to prominence playing with Frank Zappa's band, and then also he would eventually go on to play with Mahavishnu Orchestra, the second incarnation. John McLaughlin originally wanted Jean-Luc Ponty to have the violin chair in the first incarnation of Mahavishnu Orchestra, but because of logistical reasons, mainly like the cost of traveling from France to the United States to be with the band, and visa issues and a bunch of logistical things, it just wasn't feasible for Jean-Luc at that time to take up that role. But later on down the track, of course, he did get the gig, and we got, those incredible albums. One of my all-time favorite albums, my all-time favorite album is Visions from the Emerald Beyond. I mean, I don't really like to say all-time favorite anything, to be honest, because I love so much music. But if I had a gun to my head and I had only one album that I could pick, I would take that one. And I love his violin work on that album. It's absolutely incredible. But he also has had an incredible solo career, and some of those albums are legendary too. Of course, Enigmatic Oceans is probably the most well-known one and the most popular one, and it's one of the best for sure. And one of the reasons it's one of the best is because it has Alan Holdsworth on there as well. Absolutely being the magician that Alan Holdsworth was. Who's the other guitarist on that album? Is it Daryl Stuermer? I think so. I might be wrong, but I can't remember. Anyway, albums like Cosmic Messenger, Aurora, and another album that I absolutely adore, and it's like one of my favorite things of his, is the live album, Jean-Luc Ponty Live. Incredible performance. I think it's from the Aurora tour from around that time, because they play a lot of material from that, and it sounds absolutely amazing, and the band is kicking, smoking. But anyway, by the time they got to this point, it became a little more smoothed out, a little more sort of 80s, like heading into the 80s sounding, but also sort of more like meditative and sort of mystical, it's Mystical Adventures. So yeah, I mean, the music on this it's really hypnotic. I find that, like, when I put this on, it's like it transports me to another dimension or something, but like a dimension of ultimate relaxation or something. Like, this is a very chill album, but the playing is still smoking. Like, it's one of those. There's certain albums within the jazz rock genre that kind of do that, where they'll be either acoustic or the general vibe is pretty mellow, but the playing is still incredibly fiery and explosive. Well, this is one of those. You have a great lineup on this as well. You've got people, of course, you've got Jean-Luc Ponty, you've got Rayford Griffin on drums, Chris Ryan on piano, Jamie Glazer on guitar, Randy Jackson playing bass, And is there anybody else that I'm missing there? I think there's a few other like guest spots maybe. Oh, there's Paulino da Costa on percussion. I think that's about it actually, by the look of things, because each track has a slightly different lineup. There you go, I'll show you the back so you can see what I'm talking about. There's the guys in the band, of course, and there's Mr. Ponty in the middle there. Oh no, is that him? Yeah, that's him, and there he's playing the violin, obviously. And you can see like different lineup for each track. They do a cover of As by Stevie Wonder on here, which is really cool. What else can I tell you about this album? I mean, yeah, all music composed, orchestrated, and produced by Jean-Luc Ponty, except for Stevie Wonder, except for that one, except for As, composed by Stevie Wonder, of course, but arranged by Jean-Luc Ponty. Jean-Luc Ponty is one of those guys who is a little bit unsung, and you know, it gets a little bit overlooked when people talk about the greats of jazz rock fusion from the 70s. But really, when you look at his run of albums in the 70s, I mean, even from his like early albums, like I think one of his first albums he does with George Duke from Frank Zappa's band, you know, George Duke, you don't need to, everybody knows jazz rock knows George Duke, but like even from that point, the music is really cool. He really sort of develops his own sound a few albums later, but all of those albums are great, you know. And once you get into, there's this run of albums through the 70s which are all perfect and absolutely incredible compositions. What Jean-Luc brings to the table is he's got all of that fire of the, you know, American jazz rock fusion bands, but he brings a European sensibility and a classical sensibility because he was classically trained. He learned violin in a classical school, learning, like, not playing any jazz or anything like that. His second instrument was clarinet, and he learned, the way he sort of learned jazz was he was invited by some friends, you know, to sit in playing clarinet and in some jazz gigs, and that's sort of where he, you know, his facility was good enough and his understanding of harmonic language was good enough that he was able to sort of quickly find his footing there. And also the fact that he's just a fucking genius, you know, helps the matter as well. But he's a musical genius, and his compositions are incredible. And this album is one of many fantastic albums. It's not my number one, but I adore this album. I love it. It's like if I want music that is that calms me down, but also it scratches that itch of me needing to hear musicians do what they do and do it fucking well, this is a great album to come to. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. Hit that subscribe button. Tell me what you think of Jean-Luc Ponty in the comments, and I'll see you tomorrow.